One of the NFHS cameras.
The camera's fine, it's YouTube. Yeah, it's on the camera's fine.
Yeah.
They could get a subscription. It's the same to YouTube.
Everyone please rise to pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, they move the flags around. All right, we have a few presentations today. Good stuff. And we're going to start off our presentations with a proposed Eagle Scout project from Alex Grito. Alex, welcome. The board has your project proposal. So tell us a little bit about your project.
Hello. I'm AJ Garrido. I'm going to be a ninth grader at Whitman this year. Before I start presenting my project, I would like to thank the board for letting me present my project today. So as you heard, my name is Alexander Garrido. I'm a Life Scout in Troop 34. I will be a ninth grader at Whitman this year. I have been a scout basically my whole life, since kindergarten. I was the first line rank adapted by the BSA, and my project is an outdoor classroom at Simpson Middle School. I discussed a couple project ideas with Mr. Duggan. My first idea was going to be dugouts for the baseball team, but after discussing with Mr. Duggan, he saw a great project at Northport High School, and he asked me if I would be interested in doing the project. After I visited the school and I looked at the project, I thought it would be a great idea to get kids out of the classroom while they're learning and give them opportunities outside. The structure is going to be made of wood, and it's going to be 3 whiteboards. The main whiteboard will be 8 feet long, and there will be 2 doors that open up that will be 4 feet long, with 2 more whiteboards. The structure will be 10 feet high at peak. This is the location that I'm planning to build my project. I think it's the perfect location because there's no trees around, which definitely helps, and I think it's just out of the way, so if we have dances or any activities outside, it won't be in the way of those activities. These are 2 photos of the project at Northport that we went to see. This isn't exactly what I'm going for, but the design is the same. I would like to make a couple changes, especially the way the structure is built and the balance, but for the most part, it is the same.
And how is that held up in Northport for the weather? Are they weatherproof?
Well, there's 2 legs, and then there's diagonal legs, which I think could help prevent against sorts of weather, but it wasn't very stable when I went to check it out, so I would like to make it more stable for the weather. This is a list of materials that I will need to build my project. The estimated cost of the project will be around $1,800. I have a couple of fundraisers planned for this project. I'm planning to have a car wash at Stimson, and I'm also going to have a Mario's Pizzeria fundraiser. fundraiser, and I will also get donations from my friends and family. This is a timeline for when I want to do everything for this project, when I want to get it done. So I'm about to, actually I did earn Life Rank, and I'm about to get it in a couple weeks. And then in July, I want to complete the Eagle paperwork, get all the approvals. I'm almost completely done with that. I'm now here presenting in front of the board. Fundraising will start in August and September, and then I hope to start building near September, October, and then complete it by November, so kids from this school year will be able to use it.
So you obtain the Eagle Rank this year?
Yeah, so once I get this project done, I have all the other requirements, so after this project, I will get my Eagle.
Great. Well, usually it's not until the junior, senior, so.
Yeah, I want to get it out of the way, 'cause and that's it. Are there any questions?
Yes, Mr. Bronson.
Not a question, but it seems very well planned out, you're well spoken, and I appreciate it. So it's going to be a good idea, and I think you're right, that the students very well, and it seems very well, they go back very well received.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Meyer.
Yeah, thank you for the great idea. AJ, I think this would be an awesome addition to Simpson. I think anytime we can get outside, get students outside, that's great. I think you have our full support. I won't speak for us board members. And please do share your fundraising dates with us and, a QR code or something that you're doing for donations. And maybe Dr. Murphy can put the dates of your fundraisers in the South Huntington newsletter. I'd like to see the rest of the community be able to support your project as well.
Thank you.
You doing fall rushes? Or?
What?
You doing the fall rushes?
I don't know the exact date yet, but it's going to be coming up soon.
Questions? All in favor? Congratulations. Do you have any paperwork you need us to sign, or?
No.
At the end, I think,
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. We look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Don't forget to invite us to the Let's Go. Thank you. Great job. Okay. And another scouting presentation from Judy Riley, who's made a big difference. Made a lasting impression on our district.
Good evening. My name is Judy Riley. I just graduated from Walt Whitman High School, and this is my goal to work project. The overall problem that I want to address is the intersection between Walt Whitman High School and the intersection between West Hills Road and West Hills Court in front of Walt Whitman High School is very dangerous. To prove this, I did tons of research to show why this intersection can be very dangerous, starting with police accident reports dating between 2019 and 2024. 7 accidents occurred within that intersection, all but one occurring during months where school would be in session. 3 out of the 7 occurred directly in front of Walt Whitman High School, and one of these 3 resulted in an injury. While that might not sound like a lot, it is important to remember that many drivers at Walt Whitman High School are students. And they are new and inexperienced. So anything that we can do to minimize the risk of accidents and injuries benefits our school community. Something else that I did was record all of the chaos that occurs at the intersection during pickup hours and during drop-off and pickup hours. So as you can see in the video, in this first clip, that black car sits at that spot for just under a minute, just waiting to make that left out of Whitman. It really shows that there's a lot of difficulty with trying to make that left out of Whitman, which is why I think the light might help with some of that. So you can see, it's still sitting there. There really isn't much ability for that car to move at all because there's so much else happening. There's buses and other new student drivers, students who ride the bus, students who walk, and pedestrians. The intersection was also the only entrance to Sunrise Senior Living Center, which means that the high volumes of traffic are dangerous to the staff of the center as well as visitors. I also looked at a traffic study done in 2016 by JMC Planning and Engineering when they were evaluating how the proposed opening of Sunrise Senior Living Center would affect traffic in the area. As part of that study, they looked at the intersection between West Hills Road and the Walt Whitman High School East Driveway, and the study found that the service level for that intersection during the peak weekday morning hours is operated at a service level F, which is a fail. This indicates a congested or failing situation resulting in excessive delays and queuing, just like what we saw in those videos. For this intersection, the VC ratio was 1.05 with an average delay time of 118 seconds. And based on discussions with the town's Department of Planning and Environment, the study predicted that the VC ratio would deteriorate to 1.18 with an average delay time of 165.5 seconds. The VC ratio compares the volume to capacity ratio. Capacity is defined as the maximum rate at which vehicles can pass through a given point in an hour under prevailing conditions. Once the VC ratio exceeds 1, traffic flow is unstable and excessive delay and queuing is expected. Plus, traffic volumes have likely increased significantly since 2016 due to many businesses opening, such as LA Fitness, Starbucks Coffee, and Cactus Cafe, as well as Mateo's of Huntington, which was previously undergoing renovations. It seemed to make sense that a new traffic study was warranted to assess the current conditions, so I worked alongside Dr. Murphy and Dr. Dalia to get an updated study done by R&M Engineering in May of this year. This updated study looked at vehicle and pedestrian volumes at the intersection of West Hills Road and Walt Whitman High School's East Driveway. In order to warrant a traffic light, at least one of 9 criteria, or warrants, must be met. In our case, we met the criteria for warrant 3, peak hour during the morning arrival hour. During that peak morning hour, 6:45 a.m. to 7:45 a.m., traffic is so heavy that both the volume and delay time were sufficient to meet the criteria needed for a traffic light. And during this hour, the VC ratio deteriorated to 2.31, and the service level was rated as an F. If you remember, this all means that there will be excessive queuing and delays. The study also mentions that some people use the west driveway behind the school to avoid all of the congestion in front of the school, especially those who want to travel east on Jericho Turnpike. If that traffic was relocated to the east driveway due to the implementation of a light, the volumes would increase and the criteria for a light would be met for both the morning arrival and afternoon dismissal peak hours. Similarly, if more drivers were to turn left out of the east driveway where the traffic light would be installed, 3 separate warrants would be satisfied and additional warrants would be closer to being satisfied. And the 3 aforementioned warrants would correspond with the school's peak hours of operation, when most people are entering and exiting the school. With those projections, the VC ratio of the peak afternoon dismissal hours would deteriorate to 1.04 with a service level of F. Which brings us to the solution that I am proposing to resolve the high traffic volumes and risks of accidents. Install a 4-way traffic light at the intersection. It ensures that drivers stop. It means that drivers will exercise more caution, and safety will be improved, and chaos will be reduced. Of course, while I was working through this project, I understood that a light could be costly to implement, so I did come up with some alternatives in case a light isn't feasible, although now I know it's most likely in the budget. Pretty sure it's next year, which is really good for my case. But while I was working through all of this with Dr. Murphy
school bus behavior, and this is something we've been talking about for a while. This is not something that just popped up. You know, I spent 13 years as Maplewood's principal, and I can tell you that, you know, bus behavior is something that is very time consuming to work with, and it has some real negative effects within the school building. You know, we have had a bit of an uptick with the number of behavior incidents that have been happening on the buses. And, you know, anytime you have a situation where you have multiple students involved, you got to bring them down, you got to take them out of class, because one of the reasons why you have to do that is because we have to be timely in our investigations. There's no way that a principal or assistant principal is going to let students go home knowing there was a morning discipline issue, and then they get off the bus and there was no communication by the school. That doesn't happen. We do a really good job of that. And also, in looking at the way the process is as far as reporting, because if something's happening at Countrywood, that driver doesn't have a lot of time to communicate with building administration, with staff, teachers, because they're off to do their next run in a timely fashion for Maplewood. So these kind of things, you know, we got to look at this, you know, as far as the timing goes. And like I said, it's very important and essential that we communicate very timely with families regarding any kind of bus issue. So working with the cabinet, the team here, we came up with, for the board's consideration, looking at numerous ways, not just one way, but numerous ways to look at handling bus behavior at the elementary level. So one of the things we looked at is piloting over at Birchwood and Maplewood, because that's the last run in the morning. And what we would do is when the students arrive at school, say they open up the doors for the buses for the students to go into the school at 9:05. So if a bus arrives at 8:55 or 8:50, upon arrival, the students can get off the bus and go in and get breakfast. And because most of our students, as you know, we're part of the breakfast program, all New York State is this year. But they have the opportunity now, if it's there a few minutes early, to get a head start on the day. Because one of the things that can happen is when the bus is parked there for 15 minutes, that's where a lot of times these bus situations do happen. And you have a driver with 50 plus students on the bus, where this can end up sometimes being problematic, based on the data that the principals were able to share. So it maximizes instructional time, because out of 600 students plus in all of our elementary schools, I'd say between 400 and 500 are getting breakfast. So those lines can back up a little bit, especially if you're starting at 9:05. So that can back up, because we want all of our students ready to go in class by 9:15. And on a lot of days, that's kind of a struggle, a little bit tough for that to happen. So by allowing them to come off the bus early, we can eliminate some bus behavior, negative bus behavior, and we can also get a head start on breakfast and a head start on the instructional day, where maybe 9:15 becomes more of a stronger time period to start our programs. And that's something that I think will definitely help moving forward as far as reducing bus behavior. And this is something we'd like to try at Birchwood and Maplewood, since they're the last two runs of the morning. I wouldn't eliminate in the future, potentially looking at Countrywood and Oakwood, but this would be for the intermediate schools. And yes, they would go to the cafeteria. We would have staff in the cafeteria ready to supervise once they come off the breakfast line. I'm going to have Dr. Hinder, if you want to say it, whatever you want to do. He has great experience with Peaceful School Bus, and I'd like him to elaborate on it.
Sure, thank you very much, Dr. Lear. Peaceful School Bus is an initiative that I do have some experience with in a previous district, and I have to tell you, it was highly successful. What it really does is it addresses the disconnect between the school culture and the bus environment, and a lot of times that bus environment can be overlooked in terms of opportunities to build character and some behavior interventions. So we really try to bridge a gap between the school bus and the school day. And how do we do that? Well, we look to bring our bus drivers and our students together and really have them form teams. So part of the aspect is that the bus drivers will now meet with with students off of the school bus, inside the school environment, to really get to know each other. Another piece of the project, there's a lot of different activities that they can do at that time, but it also talks about creative problem solutions. So when a problem does occur, really looking at ways on how we can solve those problems, have check-ins with our buses. The administrators would also be involved in really getting to know our bus drivers better and to really add that layer of support. This program itself, why would we adopt it? Well, as I said, it does improve student behavior. And some of the studies that I was able to reference and research, there was between a 50 to 60% decrease in the amount of bus referrals over the course of the year. So when you look at the data for the Peaceful School Bus, you really have to look at it twofold. You have to look at the qualitative piece and the quantitative piece. So the quantitative piece we could obviously measure. The qualitative piece, that's those interviews that you have with students. How did they feel about being on the bus? Did they see a difference? And principals and I have been working on putting together what exactly those criteria will be to track throughout the course of the year so that we can hopefully report back in the future that this is a successful program. And what the most important piece is it aligns with our PBS initiatives that we have within all of our school buildings and all of our SEL components. So it's really just trying to bridge that gap. One of the lines within the Peaceful School Bus book is sometimes the bus can be like Las Vegas. What happens on the bus stays on the bus, and we want to make that connection and bring everyone together so that everyone understands that while the bus is a separate institute, it is still part of the school day, school experience, and those expectations of good character and citizenship that we promote so much within our school buildings carry out on the school buses as well.
Thank you, Dr. Hendrick. So the first two pieces are looking at early drop-off for the buses at Maplewood and Birchwood, and then the second piece being Peaceful School Bus, which brings us now to the third piece of our plan, is the addition of school bus monitors. And when we talk about school bus monitors, I want to be clear that students do have some students on their IEP that they're required to have a bus monitor, and those are usually on 100% of the time they're on the vans, the small buses, the minivans. So that this is separate. We're looking at the large buses. And what the plan is if we can add 4 to 5 monitors, it's basically going to, because we have about 10 big buses that are at the 4 elementary schools, and this would cover roughly about 50% of the large buses during this school year. Because it's also a way where we're trying to provide additional support for the bus drivers. Bus drivers do a great job here in South Huntington. Can they use some support? Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I'm putting it right on the table. I'm not sure of any district that is addressing monitors on large buses. We've done a lot, Mr. Conway, Dr. Hender, we've done a lot of research, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try something. Because I do believe, and I think I mentioned it once before, I was a monitor on a bus for 2 years in my first job in my prior district, and yes, I know it was before cell phones. But I do truly 100% believe that it does make a difference to have a trusted adult on the bus. And when we're looking at all of these ideas, it's to be proactive. We want to ensure a positive start to all of our students today at the elementary level. Instead of, all right, come down to the office, the principal needs to speak with you, now we got to call other people, we got to find out tell the truth. And it's a long process that does have impacts within the instructional part of the day. And that's what's really concerning to a lot of us. There are some financial considerations. The cost of the monitor is about $25,000 per monitor. And as I mentioned earlier, we will have some staff at Birchwood and Maplewood because teachers are basically supervising, instructing basically at 9:05. And so we would need some coverage if a bus gets there at 8:45, 8:50, you would need that supervision within the cafeteria. And also with the Peaceful School Bus program, there are some shirts that we would like to get because it really builds that community feeling for all of our students that we would like to purchase for them, and also some of the program materials materials. And my own kids went through the Peaceful School Bus, and they did see positive reports.
And completely, do the matrons, do the monitors get benefits?
They have the option to take benefits. We have, I think, roughly 11 monitors, and out of the 11 monitors, I believe 4 of them do take benefits.
The 25,000, that's the salary? Or?
That's a salary right now. So we just don't know who would take benefits and who would not. So this is something that we spend a lot of time on, and this is not something that just happened a few weeks ago. Oh, we need to do something with us. This is something with long conversations. I have the principal and assistant principal here, and I think everything I said is pretty truthful. Just want we need to live in their shoes, and we want to provide some help. Like, let's not just look at this the same way. We'll do the best we can. We'll handle those write-ups on the bus driver. Let's try and do something different. Let's see, and let's report back to the board later in the school year and look at data, and see what kind of difference it's making. And let me tell you something. If we are reducing tremendously those negative interactions and we're getting more instructional time, it's money well spent.
And the data's going to be what, the number of write-ups? Or?
Yeah, we're going to look. I know Dr. Henders has been working with the principals on what that data is going to look like, but it will be very comparable to prior years. And I also would think that the principals would have the ability to decide what bus they're going to put a monitor on. Maybe there's a bus that will require it a few more times than another bus. Maybe there's a situation that happened and you have 2 students that had some kind of conflict in the morning. But maybe you could put that monitor on the bus on the way home, because that does happen often, that there's concern, and maybe because a parent can't come and pick up that day, but now you have a trusted adult that can go to ensure the safety of those 2 students and everybody else on the bus.
Board, any questions on that? Really, yes. Mr. Bronson.
How does it work? So is you have the monitor in the morning, and then does the monitor, like, you have a different monitor in the afternoon, do they do something during the day, like how do they cover morning and afternoon?
No, great question. What they do is, if there's a Countrywood run, let's take a Countrywood Maplewood. They would do a Countrywood run and a Maplewood run. So they would stay on the bus, the monitor, for both of those runs. So they're not changing buses for the most part, unless there's something that we need to have a monitor get on a different bus because of something we found out in the morning, the afternoon before. We want to make sure. So in those kind of situations, we would, try to make something, work that way. But as far as Oakwood, Birchwood, they would be on the same run. So they would have 5 covered at each building. So if there's 10 big buses, it would be 50% because of the 20 runs. It would cover 10 runs between the 2 schools.
And then that would be the morning, and then what happens? So now it's the afternoon. Like, do we have a different set of monitors, or like what do they do during the day between? Like, when buses aren't running, what are the monitors doing? Are they just like there's a morning bunch there, and they work 4 hours in the morning, and there's a different group that covers?
It's contractual, so what the package is a morning package and an afternoon package, which would be 2 runs in the morning, 2 runs in the afternoon. Did I get that right, Dr. Wright?
She did.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments on the program? Yes, Mr. Joyner.
Thank you, Vito, for the presentation. Just a quick thought. Will this be a pilot or will it be extended and fixed into the budget?
Well, what I would ask of the board is that if we could move forward with this and we present to you, and let's see what the data shows us, and then it would be up, to the board as far as, how we want to move forward. We want to hire additional monitors. We want to revamp it. I think the data will tell us a lot at the end. I can't guarantee the data, but I do feel pretty good that with all 3 of these options here, that we'll be in a much better place when it comes to elementary bus behavior. I don't want to exclude also when we talk about, because we have students in the middle school in Silas, but in speaking with Mr. Duggan, and obviously Dr. Murphy, we need to get more kids taking the bus. That's the second at the high school level. But it's not as often as elementary. Elementary is tough. These students are figuring it out. They're run nicely during the day within the classroom. The teachers provide that safe, structured environment. Should be told, yes, the bus is not. A lot of students look at the driver maybe not as having the same authority, obviously, as a classroom teacher has. So these kind of things, with 50 students, and we're talking like at the primary level, when you have 5, 6, and 7-year-olds, we're doing a good job keeping the school safe. We're very clear with that. But we're just worried about when they get off the bus, the conflicts that happen on there can be resolved in a more proactive way.
Yeah, Mike.
Thank you, Dr. Billy.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I have excellent faith in Dr. Henry and the principal that we can put that positive reinforcement in place.
Absolutely, and it goes right in line with our positive behavior intervention services and what we're able to do there. So in terms of earning rewards and opportunities for prizes, actually part of the program materials would be those types of events, some competitions, bus of the month, celebrations, all of those. There's an end of the year driver celebration that we try to do as well. So outlining it throughout the course of the year, absolutely, to encourage that positive behavior.
What's on moving forward with this as a pilot program, I guess? Mary, yes?
Yes.
Mr. Joyner?
Yes.
Ms. LaCara? Ms. Clark? Okay, I agree.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Villian. I think bus drivers need help. I think a lot of students on one bus. You know, it's a classroom. It's like their first classroom of the day. Driving a two-ton vehicle, so more help we can give them, the better. Thank you. And let's look in the dates in the spring in the budget process for us to evaluate the success. All right, we'll move on to the new business agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Ms. Clark, second by Mr. Bronson. Any questions on the agenda? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you again, Alex. Judy, thank you. Good job. All right, moving on to items E through H, which require one resolution for adoption. Those are our minutes, financial items, bids, and bills. Is there a motion? Seconded by Ms. Meyer. Mr. There you go. Mr. Conway, RFP number 2026-03. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So this year is an RFP award for boiler and burner repair services. This is done as a cooperative bid, meaning other Suffolk County school districts that participate and are members of the Suffolk County School Facility Association. They can all participate and piggyback off of this bid, and conversely, we can piggyback off of other bids those districts run. So the FOIA's approval to award this RFP to Island Industrial Boiler. We've used that in the past with positive success, good success. And of the three that applied, these were the lowest price as well as the most qualified bidders for the service.
Questions on E through H? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we have one communication, was an email from a resident regarding speech therapy services for their child. Is that resident here? Okay. Moving on to new business, we have 28 items of new business. The first one is a request to remain in South Huntington for two students. Is there a motion to discuss? Ms. Meyer, second. Ms. LaCara. This request is for two students, an 11th grader and a 2nd grader. The matter was discussed in executive session. All in favor of the request to remain? All opposed to the request to remain? The resolution fails. Request is denied. Moving on to item number 2 is the improvement of an agreement between South Huntington and Huntington Hospital. Is there a motion? Mr. Bronson, second. Mr. White. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. For the board's approval is this agreement with Huntington Hospital, which will allow them to utilize Walden High School for an emergency preparedness exercise actually this Sunday. Throughout the morning, hospital staff will work alongside local first responders, including the Suffolk County Police Department, Emergency Management Services, and local area fire departments to practice their emergency response and communication skills.
On Saturday night, I believe we have a number of speakers coming to the high school. Dr. Bill, you want to talk about that?
Yes, we have people that have unfortunately been involved in some active shooter situations, and so they will be joining us Saturday night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the high school.
No,
You were on the agenda.
yeah.
I'm sorry, so now we're looking for Senate for developmental disabilities.
So that was one we were supposed to do. Last one.
So can I read for the Center for Developmental Disabilities?
Sure, so the last one you read was the starting school?
Yes.
Gotcha, okay, no problem.
So thank you. For the board's approval, this placement is for a 19-year-old South Huntington student who is classified with multiple disabilities. The student requires intensive support due to self-injurious
Conway.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman. Tonight is a request to approve a budget transfer in the amount of $129,888. This will be used for the purchase of software for BOCES, so we capture state aid on it rather than purchase it through other various vendors.
Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? And item 16, one more budget transfer. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Ms. Clark. Mr. Conway again.
Thank you. So the request here is to approve the transfer amount of $73,550.40. This here is for a position we had initially during budget development time planned for as a salary individual with benefits. However, throughout this last few months, we've developed a better process to use a contracted vendor for most of them. So that's the purpose of this transfer.
Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business. Item 17 is the approval of obsolete items from the athletic office. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Joner. Ms. Kaplan.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman. For the board's approval tonight, we have a request from Mr. Barth, our athletic director, for the declaration of obsolescence of 20 pairs of shoulder pads, 50 football jerseys that are over 20 years old, 40 volleyball jerseys that are also over 20 years old. None of this equipment has been used in many years and has been replaced with newer brands.
Yeah, I think it's time to retire those football jerseys. They retired themselves.
They never won the
Yeah,
tournament.
right,
I won the tournament from
Okay, questions? Yeah, Mr. Bronson.
From a historical perspective, just given, it's fun to watch, to change the uniforms through the years. Do we keep like when these are 20 years old and uniforms, depending on, I play football, I play a different sport, but the uniforms have changed. Do we actually retain, like from a historical standpoint, like an archive of all the equipment? It might be nice just to, just to see the changes in jerseys through the years, like keep one.
Murphy, do we keep that?
Yeah, it's actually a great question. I don't believe we do. I'll talk to Mr. Barth, but it would be nice to like keep something so we can have the new year change.
We can display them in the hallway.
It might smell.
After the wash.
It's awesome.
We can keep one for 50.
Right.
Ms. Clark.
I think I still have my soccer jersey.
Oh, wow. You want to donate it to the district? All right, any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to another obsolete item, a little less fun. Motion is by seconded by Mr. Joyner. Mr. Conway, air compressor.
Yes, not as fun. Tonight is the request to obsolete and scrap an old air compressor. It's deemed worthless, it's been over 30 years old, it's beyond its useful life, and it has already been replaced.
Okay. Great. All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on to.
I would just add for the record, by the way, that I still have all my cassettes, so you can see the trend here as far as ones retain all the stuff.
What about your old air compressors?
Do not.
I was gonna 8 tracks, so. Yeah. All right. Item 19 is approval of an auction. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. Clark. Mr. Conway.
Okay, as approved by the board on May 7th meeting, we were to use Auctions International to help sell various items that were obsolete at that time. We included some kitchen equipment, vehicles, things of that nature. Tonight, for the request of the board is to approve the sale proceeds into our general fund revenue. The result of those auctions, we got just over $24,000 in sales of those items, so we would like the permission to board to recognize that.
All in favor? Any opposed? So now everything that we declare obsolete, they don't all go to auction, right? Or I mean, as determined.
That's correct. In the case of the compressor right now, it's really being scrapped, and that's just been discarded, but the things discussed back in May, some of this was an old vehicle, a couple of vehicles, a couple of buses, a wheelchair, lift vehicle, and most of them, $50,000.
Jersey certainly not.
Jersey's probably not gonna bring the whole.
All right. Item 20, approval of a donation from H2M. Is there a motion? on to item number 21 is approval of a consultant agreement. Is there a motion? Mr. Bronson, second by Ms. Meyer. Dr. Fleet, tell us about this one.
Yes, this individual from ABD Events, Alex Dallin, he happens to be running a TV studio in another district that I had the opportunity to visit last summer, and I can tell you, it is wonderful what has been put together in that district. And since we're generating a TV studio, one of our capital projects this year, I would deem him an expert in helping us through this process. And I think he would be beneficial to have, as we want to make it just as impressive as the district that I visited last summer.
And this is for 1 year
Yes.
period. Expect the project to be built during the course of the school year.
Yes.
Great project. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Good, I think it will help us out. It's very technical. We're spending a lot of money on that studio, so we'll have to make sure that we get the right equipment, the right design. Dr. DeLeo. Okay, moving on to item number 22, approval of a consultant agreement with Standard Advisors Group. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Dr. DeLeo again.
Yes, this is an agreement with the Standard Advisors Group that will help us tremendously with our alumni relations. This is something we've started to really pursue pretty heavily here, but we need some extra help. And they have some expertise that they can utilize for us, and they have some wonderful ideas in moving forward with it. Dr. Murphy and I had the opportunity to meet with them recently, and they would absolutely be able to assist and help us. And this is a 6-month agreement, so we absolutely be able to measure, see how we're doing after 6 months, but I have a feeling it's going to bring us very positive results, because we want to get in touch with all those former Wildcats and, keep it a very active, live place for them to come to.
Dr. Murphy, anything you want to add?
No, we met with them, they have some lofty goals, it would be nice to be able to, some of the things that they can achieve, so we'll be working with them, giving that information to see if it's a relationship that will help build us our clientele for alumni, and help build our base of alumni that we can communicate with.
Excellent. Yeah, this is a full-time endeavor. I know PR works on it well, but it's a big task. The board had previously contributed them to the only thanks section. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Item 23 is the approval of attendance for board members and the superintendent at Scope's annual dinner meeting. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner. And this is for Dr. Lee, myself, and Ms. Clark to attend the new elected school board member dinner over at Warren Mansion. Yeah, very nice. Okay. I've never been before because they have good lobsters.
That's what he told me.
That's something. I don't eat lobsters, hopefully this is
Yeah, well,
food. Okay, good. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to item number 24 is the revision to the board meeting calendar for 25-26. Motion. Ms. Clark, seconded by Mr. Bronson, and this is, we're changing the meeting, I know we like Wednesday meetings, but we're altering Wednesday, September 17th, changing it to Tuesday, September 16th, to accommodate the Nassau Suffolk School Board Association resolutions dinner. I think that's like the other, so that's the reason for the change. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? And will this, I guess when the printers tally with the calendar, or will it have the revised dates on the calendar?
The calendar is accurate. We were able to do that before it went to print.
Great. Okay. Thank you. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? And moving on to item number 25 is approval of board workshop and goal planning session for September 5th. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner. This is for our board's annual retreat and goal planning session. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to new business, item 26, approval for a board member to attend state mandated school board member training. Is there a motion? Mr. Joyner, seconded by Ms. Meyer. This is for Ms. Geraldine Clark to attend session, new school board member training over at the Wisconsin Hilton, for fiscal oversight training, which is required by state law. So make sure she's in compliance. All in favor? Any opposed? member, Lucy Maniatis, to attend a National School Board Member Association Student Trustee Action Readiness Training Program. I don't think that's any longer. Motion. Then by second by Mr. Joyner. Any questions on it? All in favor? Any opposed? Joy? Learn some good stuff. All right, moving on to personnel. We have personnel schedules 2, 5, 6, 9, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 20, 19, 20, and 22. Is there a motion? Ms. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Any questions on personnel? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Personnel postings are listed. We have 2 facility committee meetings. We have the minutes from June and July, and we'll be meeting again next week in August and meet frequently. Most of the committee meetings have been discussing upcoming summer projects. We've got a lot going on throughout the district. I talked about some of them at the last meeting, so I'll talk largely about the July meeting. Actually looking at scouting procedures, so we're working on some scouting protocols to help our scouts make sure that they are going to select some projects that are good for the buildings, and that also that will be long-lasting for the district. And we discussed the status of existing summer projects. At the last meeting, we took a tour of Silas Wood to see how it was going to, what needed to be done to make it ready for the pre-K. It's in pretty good shape as is, but there needs to be some painting and some of those touch-ups to make it more for a pre-K environment than a 6th grade center. We discussed the construction work happening at Memorial. There's a lot going on at Memorial. If you drive past the library, you'll see many dumpsters. It's a major renovation. I mean, the great thing is the building is structurally sound, and its foams are great, but it needs a little love. And it's coming along great. Work is really progressing. They've already abated the building in terms of asbestos. They put down all the lockers. There's a lot going on, and work will continue throughout the summer and throughout the next school year. We looked at the design for the turf field. As you know, the voters approved a turf field, second turf field for the front of Walden High School, and we discussed what kind of lines it would have and its exact location. It would be located very close to West Hills Road. And we discussed the next steps on the traffic light in advance of Ms. Riley's presentation today. And as I said, we're having an update tomorrow in town to discuss what the next steps are. We already have traffic studies, so we're just discussing the next steps, which will ultimately lead to an agreement between the school district and the town to install it. The district will pay for the traffic light, and the town will maintain it. And we spent a lot of time on our facilities use policy, which seems to get reviewed almost every other year. Trying to make things fair and equitable across the district, across all the many people and organizations that use our facilities, but also to protect our field, because there is a lot of wear and tear on our fields as well. So that's something that we're going to be working on at most of the upcoming meetings. Hopefully bring something to the board in the next few months. Future meetings are listed. August 20th is our next summer meeting, and then we go into our regular school year. Comments by board members? Dr. D'Elia.
Yes. Just a little big shout out to all the people that have made this summer possible, because this is a district that doesn't sleep during the summer. Between all of our camps and as Mrs. Pat mentioned, the work that's going on at Memorial, we have a lot of our own employees that are doing the work there and around the district and other places. We have a really talented staff, and I believe they deserve a shout out, because we appreciate all the work that they do. Because when schools open, and it goes for administration as well, the doors just don't open. There's a lot of work that goes into making sure we're ready to go come the Tuesday after Labor Day. So thank you to everybody making this summer very successful for. And like I said, we don't sleep during summer, and we go all year round. And also want to welcome Lucy. Welcome to the board.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and go with you. Board of Education, and I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of construction work going on. I forgot to mention also at Walden High School, there are 3 science classrooms being gutted because we had an issue with the gas there. So those are completely being gutted. It's a really fascinating project. They rip up everything, including the floor. So it's 3 of them are being done, as well as if you go over the high school, you'll see a lot of dirt being moved around. We're in phase 2 of Wildcat Stadium, which involved putting some concrete down and then some turf. And what we had last year was really a lot of runoff and really washing down the hillside. So a lot going on, more to come. The big projects during the year, as we mentioned. We approved the Elvis Studio, which we'll be working on during the course of the year. We approved a new paving over here at the district office. We know when that's going to start?
It's probably gonna be, next summer, like this.
Oh!
It's a 4-week project,
And they can't do it in phases, and it's hard because we do have pre-K sections here,
Okay.
and there could be some safety issues with higher elevation before they.
Oh, we're going to be able to do it this summer. Okay.
No, we
Yeah, we
tried,
tried.
it's definitely a really big job, but they're gonna be, we have assurances, they are gonna hold their price,
Okay.
and they're gonna be good to go July 1, in the summer.
We'll have it counted out.
Parking lot is a madness.
We tried.
Yeah, I parked up there, and my car went in the ditch.
Yeah, your outdoor learning centers at the 2
Yeah.
entries that are coming.
Yeah, so a lot of projects happening during the year. We'll have people doing boilers at Walden High School, as well as leftover projects that were previously approved, new doors over at Silas Wood. Hopefully will come in during the year. Doors, you need to order doors, you have to order them like 15 months in advance. It's the longest thing in the world. It's like maybe longer than 15 months. It's unbelievable. Okay, that's it for me. Lucy, welcome.
Hi.
Oh yeah, here you are. Nice. How's the summer going?
Summer's been good. Oh, it's really bad. Sorry. Summer's been good. I was just at a pre-college program at Boston Conservatory, where I was working on musical theater stuff and getting prepared for my college auditions, which start very soon, and it's a long process. So I was kind of just preparing for that. Since I got back, I was working at the theater camp here. I was running the entire thing by myself. So it was really fun to work with the little kids and just teach more kids about theater, and I think that's very important. A lot of the seniors for the science research program have been already starting their projects because we are submitting for one of the biggest competitions, international science competitions. So I and a lot of other students have been working on our projects, and since the science research room was renovated, it's been very nice working with all the materials and just working in a great and brand new room. The science research camp was a great success, and especially those materials and the room being done really helped. And I'm really close with Mr. Bracco and Mr. Carabias. They were telling me all of the great things that are happening there. The drone camp, of course, again, technology. It's really good to introduce this to those kids and get them interested in the science research program. So that's amazing. You talked previously about the 100 remaining science rooms being renovated. Dr. Murphy and I took a walk down there the other day, and the progress is looking good. So hopefully it's ready by the new school year, and it was really cool to see. And yeah, I think that's it. And then a lot of the students are looking forward for homecoming and Spirit Week and everything. And I know I'm very excited for Powder Puff because I do the choreography. So seniors are win. And so that's going to be taking place the week of October 20th and 24th, and we're already going there. And Carnival and Powder Puff are on the 24th, and then homecoming, parade, and the game are on the 25th. So, yeah.
And fireworks. We'll have fireworks.
And fireworks.
Yeah. Might be the last year of the fireworks. We don't know because
That's the last.
the turf field comes in. We can't do them anymore.
Can't burn the turf field now.
Dr. Murphy said he would do it from his backyard.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you again for everything, and I'm very excited.
Have you completed your college visits or?
Most of them. I mean, when I'm auditioning, I'll be on a lot of campuses, so I will be seeing more and more, and yeah, it's a
You know
long
where you're gonna
process.
fly yet or?
I have a lot of places. California, Boston, I'm kind of applying all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Look forward to hearing more about your journey.
Good luck.
Thank you. You've had a great summer. Voice of the resident.